In 2016, it was a government-to-government contract, everybody knows. But at what point of time in the negotiations did you come in as Dassault?
Good morning. Number one is I'm more than happy to welcome you here in Istres. And Istres is our flight test base, our flight test center. We were designated to be L1, so meaning is the winner of the competition against many other competitors, and we were more than proud to be the L1 competitor in 2012. From 2012 up to 2016, we have been working to try to finalize the deal. For some reasons, which may be exposed to by government of India, this deal didn't go through, and the government of India, because of the urgency of the requirement, requested the government of France to be able to supply 36 Rafale, which the government of France accepted and told us in 2016.
So as a supplier, did you feel that HAL did not have the capacity to produce the leftover, not the flyaway condition, but
no, not at all. We have a long experience with HAL. I worked myself with HAL and I have great respect for this company. What was difficult in that deal to be negotiated was two matters. One was a responsibility not only of the first aircraft, because it was a kind of license. So you got 18 aircraft fly away, meaning is produced here in France, and then step by step a license production through HAL, because HAL was the lead production agency. The question was at that time, and many discussions we had, is how many hours HAL should take compared to the number of hours Dassault is taking in France. It was an issue. And the second issue was the responsibility. Should I be, as Dassault, responsible for 126 or only of the beginning of the production? Because at the end, for example, if you take the last aircraft, the 126th aircraft, totally manufactured by HAL, HAL should take the full responsibility in front of Indian Air Force. These were two issues which were difficult to resolve.
So there was nobody from the Indian government who told you pick Mr. Anil Ambani's group?
Not at all.
So if you were to, when you picked the Ambani group, it isn't just because it's a family-run company like Dassault. You have in an interview said that you picked it because they have land near the airport. What kind of due diligence did you do? What kind of checks did you do before you picked Reliance?
Yeah, we had many trips between Dassault team and Reliance group. What we wanted in 2011, we wanted to be with an Indian group in order to settle facilities and to invest in India to produce parts of aircraft, parts of Dassault aircraft. And we started with Falcon, for example. And so it's my choice to say we have been working with the government of India for the last 60 years. But now I understand that we need also to be in India. And we need to be in India with partners, so with Indian partners. And obviously, we could have gone to Tata, to other family groups, but you know, at that time the decision to go ahead was not given to Dassault. We were in 2011. Tata was also discussing with other companies, foreign companies. So we finally decided to go ahead with Reliance because they have experience in big engineering facilities, not in aeronautics, but aeronautics. I am the expert.
See, the main opposition party in India, the Congress party, has said that the CEO of Dassault is covering up for the Indian Prime Minister, is covering up for a deal which is not clean. And he said, in short, he just said, used the word liar. He accused you of being a liar.
Yes, I saw that, and I am a little bit sad to see, because we have also a long experience with the Congress party. The deal with the Mirage 2000 was at the time of the Congress party. Mrs. Gandhi is the first deal with India in 1953 was also with Nehru and there are honorable prime ministers at that time, and we have been working with India. We are not working for a party. We are working and supplying strategic assets, strategic products like fighters to the government of India, to Indian forces, to Indian Air Force, and this is what is most important. I don't lie. The truth, everything I declared before, all the statements I made are the truth. I can confirm to you today, and I don't have the reputation to lie. And when you are in my position as a CEO, you don't lie.
Is that why the French media has not questioned the deal at all? Hardly anything has appeared in the French media?
No. Only, this controversy about what the President Hollande said, but the President said it was a misunderstanding and he corrected what he said before, and the press media in France know us very well. We are supplying and supporting the strategic asset of our own French defense for a very long time, since Second World War, and even before, and we have a long and outstanding reputation. First, to design good aircraft, which I think is important when you are a country like France or when you are a country like India, supporting our products for a long time, the same team, the same people. We are engineers. I am myself an engineer, and what we want is a good deal, a good product to Indian Air Force.
So, you're telling me about the fantastic reputation that Dassault has. So, do you feel that this allegation of corruption made with regard to the Rafales which are going to India, is that going to tarnish the reputation of Dassault in any way? Is it going to hurt Dassault's reputation?
I don't think so. I think that number one is the deal. The deal is clean, so it is not because someone says something that it is the truth. The truth is what is the truth is. So we will see who can say what is the truth. But the truth is what I said. We about Reliance. We choose Ambani by ourselves. The Reliance Group, the Ambani family. We did it. We are also looking at other partners. We have already 30 partners which are not Reliance. So it's not only Reliance. We are more than happy to be the supplier of the Indian Air Force, and what you have been able to see today with the Rafale is the Indian Air Force is supporting the deal because they need this fighter in order for their own defense to be at the top.
So you said 30 partners that you've selected other than Reliance, and I think there are about 70 more in the pipeline or something.
Yes.
So how much is going in for your offset partner as Reliance? How much is going to the others? And the others, are they going to get it directly from Dassault or via DRAL?
No. Number one is we have about 7 years to perform our offset. During the first 3 years, we are not obliged to say with who we are working. Number three is we have already settled work and agreement with 30 companies, which represents about 40% of the total offset obligation we have by contract. Reliance is 10% out of this 40% already settled. And the 30 other % are not going through Reliance. It's direct agreement between Dassault and these companies.
Let's come to the pricing issue. Now, as per one report, Dassault 19.5 billion euros for 126 aircraft, the earlier deal, the MMRCA, averaging 155 million euros per aircraft. Tell me if I'm wrong anywhere. But in 2016, Indian government buys the same aircraft from you for 217 million per aircraft. That is 40% higher than the earlier MMRCA deal. Is this right or is this wrong?
We compare chicken and eggs. We compare something which not apple to apple. Number one was a contract with 126 aircraft, among them 18 to be produced in France, and then a progressive license with not only HL, but many companies around to be able to produce. So that is one part, with deliveries of jigs, and then labor. Then came the question at that time of how many hours to produce a Rafale by Indian companies compared to a Rafale produced in France and this and that. Then you have the cost of the labor on this. So this is one matter. Now 36, the price of the 36 was exactly the same compared with the 18 flyaway. You compare flyaway to flyaway. 36 is double than 18, so as far as I was concerned as Dassault, it should have been the double, including the price. 36 aircraft to compare with 18. But because it was a G2G government, there were some negotiation, and then I had to decrease the price of 9%. So the price of Rafale in flyaway condition is less expensive in the 36 contract than it was in the 126.
What is the delivery time, sir? When are these aircraft going to come to India, and when are the squadrons going to be ready? What about the training, and what about the spares that come in? Because that also is an issue when it comes to is India locked in with Dassault all the time for the spares now, because we're not going to be making them? So
no, not in this deal, but we are starting. Number one, to your question, is the first delivery to Indian Air Force is going to take place next year in September. So in 1 year, as per contract, it's totally in time. Number two is
2019.
2019, 2019.
The first lot will be delivered.
Yes, the first aircraft.
Former President Hollande said that Dassault was not given an option. They had to pick the offset partners which the Indian government told them to. Whereas the Indian government says that nothing of that sort happened. So
it's totally untrue, and the former President Hollande made and performed a correction of what he said. He said clearly the two partners found themselves together. So it's not at all a decision of the French government or the government of India that Dassault selected Reliance. I have a good example. If I started discussions with the Reliance Group in 2011, President was not Hollande in France, and Prime Minister was different from the existing Prime Minister of today at that time in 2011. And we settled an agreement in 2012.
But the Reliance of that time was also different.
Yes.
It was the other brother. So it was, the president was different. The only common factor is you. Because Indian Prime Minister was different, the French President was different, Reliance was different.
Right.
You're the only one who was common.
This is why I say I decided.
Right.
So I said we decided to go ahead with the group Reliance. Within the group Reliance, they are brothers, but they still have their mother. They are together the sons of the former lead of the company, Ambani, and it's a big group. So it was totally in line with the family group to go ahead with Reliance, with one or the other company.
When you selected Reliance as a defense partner, it's said that Reliance directly has got 20,000 crores, or how much was the investment done into this company? What kind of investments have you done as a joint venture? What kind of money are you putting in for what you're going to be producing there?
When we created the JV last year, and the decision of creating a JV was part of our agreement again in 2012, but we waited for the contract to be signed. We are supposed to put in this company together, Reliance and Dassault, about 800 crores, so 50-50, because the shares in the JV is 49% for Dassault and 51% for Reliance. For the time being today, to start the work with the hangars, with the workers, to pay the employees, we have already put about 40 crores, but it will be increased up to 800, which means half% for for Dassault, 400 cars in the JV by Dassault in the 5 coming years.
So you've put in this kind of money, and you're promising to put this kind of money into an organization which has no track record of product and services for the aviation industry.
But we cannot say that, because we are not putting the money in Reliance. We are putting the money in the joint venture. In this joint venture, I put my know-how free of charge. I put my know-how on how to produce people. I have some engineers from Dassault and workers from Dassault who are taking the lead as far as the industrial part of this JV is concerned. While at the same time I have an Indian company like Reliance, which is putting money also in this JV because they want to support the development of their country. So it's the company is going to know about how to produce aircraft.
No, not development of the country. It's a private organization. Its profit is the motive, not development of the country,
Look,
right?
I don't think that you can say that, because, you know, if you would have said that in America, Americans will not be what they are today. If you take Lockheed, it's a private company, and I'm sure that they have the US flag in front of their hangars. So it's good for their economy. And if you take the example of the US, when the industry is going well, when the companies are going well, private companies, it means the economy goes well.
Sure. The reason I said this is because the comparison is with HAL. Why wouldn't Dassault do it with HAL? Because, see, the opposition's claim is that the Indian Prime Minister keeps talking about make in India, make in India. But at the same time, when it came actually to bringing about this deal, it got Dassault to bring in offset partners, which is not HAL, but a friend of the Prime Minister. That's what the opposition's claim is, and not HAL. So all through, the accusation has been that the pressure on Dassault was to leave HAL, to abandon HAL and take a private company.
Not at all. You know, if we would have signed the 126, we would have worked with HAL and with Reliance, because at that time already we were in partnership with Reliance. So it's because the 126 didn't go through that we had the government of India has to reconfigure to urgent requirement to go to 36 from the government of France. So, and then I took the decision to continue with Reliance, and HAL, which I know well, they even said in the last few days that they were not interested to be part of Offset. So it has been done by my decision and the decision of Reliance together to go ahead to invest in a new private company. It's good to be a private company and to be a small company also. Small company means you are going to develop know-how, you are going to develop new processors. India is one of the big countries in digital capacity. We will have a digital company. Nagpur is supposed to be a digital city, and it's a nice place. And I have a lot of land available there in order to develop the company. So this is the building of a new company. It's good for everyone.
So one more question is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi says that Eric Trappier in France and Narendra Modi in India have respectively broken the laws in their own country. You in France and Mr. Modi in India, and that you will get into trouble in your respective countries.
Do you think he's right? Because if I break the law in my country, I will have to face problems, which is not the case. I mean, I am totally clean in front of the laws of my country. I am French, I live in France, my company has more than 100 years, so we are totally clean in France. We are also totally clean as far as Dassault is concerned in India. So everyone is looking at Dassault for a long time. It has always been the case. So if we would have made something wrong, it would have been known. But I have to answer to this question to the officials of the country. The official of my country, I know them very well. The officials of India is the government of India with their own rules. So everyone from the official asking me question, I will answer to the question. I'm totally transparent.
How efficient is this jet going to be in the long run? How many years do you see the Rafale lasting?
Within the
as a
French
mean
forces, I will continue to deliver Rafale up to 2030. Then it will be operational at least 30 more years. So at least the Rafale will be in the inventory of the French forces up to 2060. Now we got some good results at the export market with some countries, including India, and we know that India keeps its own fighter for a longer time. So we will continue to support the Rafale up to the moment Indian Air Force needs it. Look at what's happening with the Jaguar. We have been able to support the Jaguar for a long time. Jaguar is not only a British aircraft, it was a French, Franco-British aircraft. And I work myself with the Jaguar to support through HL and Indian Air Force. Same with the Mirage. The Mirage will continue to be supported for a long time. So it's really a guarantee for India, because Dassault has been a long outstanding company for the last 100 years now, and will continue for at least 100 years.